Now, as we finish out this clip, I want you to pay attention to Sanetta's behavior. And you'll see that he makes a lot of unrealistic expectations. He invalidates you. He creates chaos. And he even uses emotional blackmail. He acts superior. He controls and isolates you. You know, he does all these types of emotional abuse. Let us look into this. We're going to break all of this down and show you how Sarnetta is a very disrespectful, psychologically damaged, and abused person. And we will let you know that Sarnetta has been abused all of his life because people that has been abused feel the need to abuse others. People that abuse others do it because they were abused. This is a number one sign that you have been child abused and abused as a child. Unrealistic expectations. One sign of emotional abuse is if one person places unrealistic expectations on you. Examples of this include making unreasonable demands, expecting you to put everything aside to meet their needs, demanding you to spend all of your time together, being dissatisfied no matter how hard you try or how much you give. This is the reason why no matter how many times you go on his show, no matter what you say, no matter what evidence you have, no matter how many times you beat these people up in the debates, you'll always lose and you'll never be a winner on Sarnetta's show. He criticizes you for not completing tasks according to their standards, doing what they say, right? Expecting you to share their opinions, right? They want you to look at history according to their pseudo philosophies and very non academic standards. They demand that you name exact dates and time when you're discussing things uh, that get upset with you. He invalidates you, right? Another sign that someone may be emotionally abusive is if they invalidate you. Some examples of invalidation include undermining, dismissing, or distorting your perception or your reality. Sarnetta is very good at undermining people. He dismisses all facts. He distorts people's perception and their reality. He refuses to accept your feelings by trying to define how you should feel. He requires you to explain how you feel over and over again, accusing you of being too sensitive, right? Too emotional or crazy, even. Refusing to acknowledge or accept your opinions or ideas as valid, dismissing your requests, wants, and needs as ridiculous or unmerited, suggesting that your perceptions are wrong or that you cannot be trusted by saying things like, you're blowing this out of proportion or you exaggerate things. Sarnetta excusing you of being, he accuses you of being selfish, needy, or materialistic if you express your wants or needs. He's very chaotic. He creates chaos. Emotionally abusive people also tend to create chaos. Some examples of these red flags include starting arguments for the sake of arguing, making confusing or contradictory statements, sometimes called crazy making, right? Sarnetta is very crazy making, right? Because he makes very confusing and contradictory statements, having drastic mood changes or sudden emotional outbursts. You'll see all of this in this next segment. He does a lot of nitpicking. Uh, a lot of times at your clothes, your hair, or your work. More so in this case, people's work, behaving so erratically and unpredictably that you feel like you are walking on eggshells. Sarnetta makes people do that. You should not allow him to make you feel that way. You should have him feeling that way. Use emotional blackmail. If someone tries to use your emotions against you, this is a sign of emotional abuse. making manipulations and controlling you by making you feel guilty or putting you on a guilt trip, humiliating you in public or private, using your fears, values, compassions, or others' hot buttons to control you or the situation, exaggerating your flaws or pointing them out in order to deflect attention or to avoid taking responsibility for their own poor choices and mistakes, denying that an event took place or lying about it, punishing you by withholding affection or giving you the silent treatment. Act superior, son. Now, the act superior. People who are emotionally abused and abusive also often act superior and entitled. Things to look for when considering whether a person in your life exhibits this sign of emotional abuse: treating you like you are inferior, blaming you for their mistakes and shortcomings, right? Calling you non-scholarly, calling you dumb, calling you uneducated when this guy doesn't even have a high school diploma, doubting everything you say and attempting to prove you wrong, and it's always an attempt because they never can do it, making jokes at your expense, telling you that your opinions, ideas, values, and thoughts are stupid, illogical, and don't make sense, and can't prove none of that. Don't know, can't tell you what logic is, right? Couldn't even define it, right? Talking down to you or being condescending, they do all of that. Using sarcasm when interacting with you, acting like they are always right, know what's best, and are smarter than you. Controls and isolates you. He always throws you off his panel. He mutes you. He puts you in the back. Emotionally abused and abusive people will attempt to isolate you and control you. Some examples of this form of emotional abuse includes controlling who you see or spend time with, including friends or family. Okay, well, in Sarnetta's case here, he treats you like you property, and he when you on his show, you know what I'm saying. He acts jealous and envious. He throws you, like I said, he does a lot of muting, which is isolation, throwing you off the show. Putting you in the back and all of that type of stuff. So you got all of these different types of emotional abuse, and Sarnetta is good for all of them, which is accusing of cheating or other signs of jealousy and or possessiveness, a constant checking on or attempting to control the other person's behavior. He does that a lot. Constantly arguing or opposing, he does that a lot. Criticizing, he does that a lot. Gaslighting, he does that a lot. Isolating the individual from his show, name calling and verbal abuse, refusing to participate, shaming or blaming. He does all of these things. He even does the silent treatment. Trivializing the other person's concerns and withholding affection and attention. We're going to get off into this next segment of the show.